Aloha Sharks Nation. We are live on the campus of Hawaii Pacific University at Aloha Tower Marketplace at the HPU Esports Arena powered by DSE Hawaii. I'm your host, Jeff Rich. I'm back after a couple weeks hiatus. Was out of town visiting a little family last week and out of town the week before. And the show was held down very aptly by Marcus and Paul. Guys, how you doing today?
Marcus, you go first because we care more about your well-being here.
Marcus Dawal Jr., guys, Hawaii Pacific University's new sports information director. Marcus, you got the pleasure to host the show along with Paul the last couple of weeks.
No, it's been a fun time. We definitely missed you a lot, and yeah, there's so much stuff happening this week and then last week. Oh my gosh! But just glad to be back here. Just finished finals, so.
Nice. Well, we're going to check in with you as we go through the show and get a little recap on the last week in HPU sports and then a look ahead. But we've also got our in-studio producer, Mr. Paul Brecht, with us today. Paul, you held down the fort as well the last couple of weeks.
Try my best. We're not quite any rich Jeff out here, but we're pretty solid in your absence. Like Marcus said, definitely missed you, but glad you're back. Have a really fun conversation lined up for us today too. So. Couldn't have come back at a better time, my friend.
Yes, we do. Today, we've got an exciting show lined up. We'll be speaking with HPU Women's Volleyball, and we've got head coach Jenic Tumaneng, who is entering his 7th season with HPU as the head coach, and senior Beazley and freshman Schoene. And we'll formally introduce you guys in a second. But, back to the last couple weeks, boy, it was great shows. I got a chance to listen in. And, Marcus, you've been with HPU now for what? Are you coming on about a month or so? 2 months in?
I think it's my 6th week here.
You feeling settled in? You feeling like you're getting your rhythm in the athletics department?
I wouldn't say I have my rhythm yet, but definitely getting a better feel for how things are running and just playing catch up, but also just trying to keep all our programs moving forward. And so definitely been loving my time here so far, though.
Nice. Well, I have to say, I did a little time last weekend in San Diego. I was at the Coronado Resort with some family, and I am very glad to be back in Hawaii. Best weather on the planet. Man, it gets cold in Southern California now, whether it's summer or winter. And it's like you want to get some warmth, you got to come to Hawaii.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. I know Eli, our compliance director, is probably just freezing to death in Alaska right now with the men's basketball team. So.
Nice. Well, if you didn't get a chance to catch the last 2 weeks' shows, you can always catch them. They are available for streaming. You can go to the Sharks Weekly section on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.com website. And, of course, you're listening to us live if you're hearing us right now on AM 760 and FM 95.1. But those episodes are always available to listen on demand. And the fun thing is now we've been recording these. So if you want to go to on YouTube, you can go and actually see our in-studio guests and see what happens here at the esports arena here on the campus at Aloha Tower Marketplace.
Yeah, a nice little new addition to the show this year. We had plenty of fun last year, obviously, a switch in host. We brought Jeff on, and Jeff has been killing it for us. And this year now, like he said, a little behind-the-scenes action, a little action into the studio here at Aloha Tower Marketplace inside the esports arena. You can find that on the Hawaii Sports Radio or the Hawaii Sports Radio Network YouTube channel. Drop a subscription, a like. Just support these student athletes who work really hard, and they're also pretty interesting people.
Yeah, they are. And, I think our objective is to talk a little about the sports, but also get to know a little bit about you guys personally, interests, what motivates you. So let's jump in. Let me formally introduce our 3 guests in studio today. Our returning contestant, Jenic Tumaneng, 7th year is your status here as the head coach of women's volleyball here at HPU, and we had a great conversation, I remember, last year. So it's good to see you again.
Yes, thanks for having us, and glad to be here.
Well, we're glad to have you, and you brought along 2 outstanding student athletes. We've got 5'9" senior Pua Beazley, who we had also on last year. Pua, good to see you again.
Nice to see you too.
And then we've got a newcomer to the show, 6'1" freshman Schoene. Ella, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm good. You excited to be on the show this morning?
I'm really excited.
Well, let's jump in a little bit. Let's learn a little bit about you guys. Maybe we could start with, Jenic, give us a little bit of a recap on how the season's going, the highs, the lows, but how have things been going this year so far?
Well, this season has been a good challenge, I would say, because our girls are continually working hard. We had our first road trip in early October. And I think we played the NorCal schools and did a good job in coming home with 2 wins. Excited to be back, trying to make a run and getting the W's. But SoCal schools came, and you know how SoCal schools are, and the competition was great.
Yep.
So, and kind of just got back on a long 10-day road trip in the SoCal, and that was a lot of good competition. And unfortunately, we didn't come back with W's, but the girls kind of build the relationships together and continue to work.
Yeah, that's a tough competition on the West Coast for sure. It's volleyball nation all through the West and here in Hawaii. Signature sports for sure. Well, we'll come back to the how the season's going here in a sec. But I want to make sure we spend a few minutes here with some formal introductions. So Pua, let's start with you. So you are a native of Hawaii. You grew up here from Kaneohe and from Maryknoll High School. So you stayed in Hawaii, and I remember a little bit of our discussion last year about some of the reasons that you liked staying here. Still happy with your decision and loving Hawaii, huh?
Yeah, I love being back home, being able to play in front of family and friends, and it's just so rewarding because, my great-grandparents, thank God they're still alive, but they're getting older. Traveling gets a little harder, so being able to play for my last few times in front of them is so rewarding.
Yeah. Now, are you in your 4th year here, or is it 5? I don't know with the pandemic how things kind of worked out for some students, but
yeah. So I actually went to the University of North Texas before attending HPU.
Okay.
But I decided to transfer back my junior year. So last year was my junior year, and this year is my senior year. So I've only been here for 2 seasons.
Only 2 seasons. Yeah. And you are a human resource development major. Mm-hmm. So planning a career in HR, huh?
Yeah, that's the hope. Currently, I'm interning with the Queen Lili'uokalani Trust. And they serve an amazing mission. They serve orphan and destitute children of Hawaii. So we use the Last Reigning Monarchs Trust Fund to just provide resources for them. So, yeah.
Well, very nice. Cause related. It's got to give you a good feeling to be contributing in that way.
Yeah.
So you excited to enter that career and that profession as you move on to the next phase of life?
I am. There's a lot that goes into it, and I think that HR gets a bad rep, I'm going to report you to HR. But, it's really just about making sure that people are surrounded by just an environment where they can thrive and grow their career paths.
Yeah. You're right. I mean, sometimes HR in corporations, any organization can get a bad rap. But, I found through my career, I've worked in a few places in the corporate world and ad agencies and universities. And, the culture in those organizations are what keeps people there, keeps people excited and happy and on mission. And HR has so much to do with that. Mm-hmm. And you have so much of an impact on, the happiness quotient of the other folks that have to come to work there every day.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's definitely just a tool. We like to say we're not the frontline workers, we're the backline, but in order for the frontline to perform.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, well, Ella, so you are a freshman, and you are from La Center High School, and that is in Washington, if I'm not mistaken, right?
It is.
So are you a true freshman? Had you transferred, or?
I am a true freshman.
Okay,
yes.
So you were in high school last year?
Yeah.
Okay. So, you are a business administration major, mm-hmm. So have you, that's a broad category of business. Have you started to zero in on any sort of a career path?
Not really, but I think that's part of the reason why I kind of chose business administration is because it is so versatile. And obviously, moving away from home, I'm still finding myself and finding what I'm passionate about. So I'm excited to see where it takes me.
Business, it's a great major to give you a lot of options as you move on and graduate. So you had a strong high school career in volleyball. What got you interested in HPU? How did we get on your radar?
I came on vacation here. And
was that your first trip to Hawaii?
It wasn't, actually. We came here to run the Honolulu Marathon, and I'm like, wow, this would be a great place to live. And my coaches were from Hawaii, and so they kind of also helped me along the way. But I decided I'd reach out, and it all just worked out.
Nice. So I'm glad that was sounds like a good find for you, Jenic.
Yeah, I'm glad that we got that catch. Yeah.
So has it lived up to everything, as you enter your first year here and really start to get comfortable? Is it living up to expectations?
100%. I absolutely love it here. I don't know, just the environment is just so welcoming, and I just feel like I found my place.
Yeah, it is. It's a special place for sure. We talk a fair amount about that on the show with our student athletes and our coaches. We're excited to have you guys here today. We're going to talk a little about how the season's going here. We'll take a quick break, but just a reminder, you can listen to us live every 9 o'clock Thursday morning here, or catch us streaming and at the HawaiiSportsRadioNetwork.com website in the Sharks Weekly section. I'm your host, Jeff Rich, and we will be right back. And we are back live on Sharks Weekly here at the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, FM 95.1 and AM 760. I'm your host, Jeff Rich, and we are talking women's volleyball today with head coach Jenic Tumaneng and two outstanding players, freshman Ella Schoene and senior Pua Beazley. So, guys, let's get into the season. So you're kind of into the meat of the schedule, it looks like. You've had some mixed results, good and bad. But give us a feel. How does the team feel? What's the chemistry like? How do you guys feel in terms of how things are going so far?
Yeah, definitely. I think one difference is we have about the same amount of returners, and we were able to kind of cultivate this work ethic culture within the spring. And I think that helped our 11 or 12 new girls come in. And
you've got 12 new players this year. Yes. What's the total roster size?
23.
Wow, that's like 50%, all new. Is that unusual for a team?
It was unusual, but again, HPU attracted, whether it's the academics, route or the athletic route. They wanted to be here, and if they wanted to be in the islands to go to school and compete, we're going to see if it works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I can't help but give a plug for any aspiring college volleyball players out there, women volleyball players. Wonderful place to be, an amazing coach and an amazing program with a lot of success. So you were saying, Pua, so your feel for the season, this is your last year. No more eligibility after this year, right?
Yeah, so actually I have my 5th year, but within master programs.
Okay, so you think about a master's program and staying?
Yeah, it doesn't work out with the amount of courses that I would need to take. So just thinking about working and finishing up. So talk to my parents, and our saying is empty out the tank one last time. So I'm going to empty out my tank one last time, yeah.
You don't want to leave anything on the court, right?
Yeah.
As a former college athlete, you don't want to have regrets about not giving it everything on your last year out. But Pua, you called out an interesting trend in college sports, and a lot of it was driven by the pandemic and the extra year of eligibility that a lot of students got. But in general, just as an academic trend, we see a lot of students that are opting for what we call a +1, which is that 1-year add-on for a master's program. And if you take the right sequence of courses through your first 3-4 years as an undergrad,
right,
you can get out of there with a master's degree. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you're thinking about that down the road, but right now you want 1 more year and then move into your professional career.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think definitely within working with HR and talent acquisition, when we look at the market, it shows that more jobs require masters.
Yeah.
So.
Again, I would just, for folks out there, it's a different world, and there's a lot of conversation about the value of a college degree. Is it worth it to go to college? I think it's kind of a dumb argument, right? I mean, It does depend on what career pathway you want to go into, and there are absolutely some careers that don't require a college degree. But things in, business settings, office settings, it's not just a bachelor's degree, it's a master's credential that you really need to be successful these days. Mm-hmm. But let's take it back to how things are going on the court. So you are a first-year college player. What's the experience been like? How's it different than maybe what you expected coming out of high school? What's the good and the bad?
It's definitely a change of pace for sure, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely it's been a change just coming in as like a big senior to a baby freshman again, but the team dynamic has always been good, and Coach Jenic has been good at giving people like the opportunities to show themselves that they are like able to play at this high level. So I think that's like, it's been good, especially here, because I know other schools don't really give freshmen that chance. So coming here, being a freshman, being able to like have that time on the court has been really beneficial.
Has it been, you just contrast it to your high school experience and the step up at the college level, both the talent that you're playing against, but also the regimen of practice and building team chemistry. Is it just at a different level from what you went through in high school, or is it a continuation of that sort of commitment to the sport that athletes have at any level?
The commitment level is just like on a whole new level, because during high school you're playing with girls who they're like, oh, I'm just gonna like try it out. But I think at this level, like, you're all playing with girls who like know that they love the sport and that they like really have that competitiveness drive to win. So I think that's just like, it takes it to a whole new level. And
yeah. So with so many new players, first-year players, you have to rebuild the team chemistry, I imagine. How's that going?
That's always the interesting part in coaching. When you bring all these different personalities come and play, and I like it when we're doing things as a group. We're definitely mixing it up and pairing things up with other girls that don't normally, hang out with each other. So especially road trips, that's a big positive, because they get to know each other and build relationships with each other.
So one thing we always like to ask athletes when they come on the show is, how do you guys go about off the court building that team chemistry? Are there rituals? Are there activities, places you guys like to go as a team? How much emphasis is there on sort of, especially as an upperclassman and a team leader, Pua? How do you build that chemistry as the season progresses?
Yeah, I definitely think when we do like our first 2-3 weeks of double days, we see each other for 5 hours. So it's definitely good, and it's a good tool to use to kind of understand them, not only as a player but as a person, of like how they work, how their brain works. And so when thinking about it, I know what it's like to be away from home so far in Texas. And so I want to be able to step up into that role of like, hey, like, you guys need a home cooked meal, like, what's up? So, just like reaching out, I think and feeling like you're not just alone on this secluded island, like so far away from family. Like, we step in, like, I know the local girls, we have 4 this year. That's local. And I know we step up into that role as, hey, like, we're your family now. Like, my family comes in and supports me for the games, but not only me, but the other 22 girls.
Have you done, like, dinners at your place? I know, like, my daughter played hockey and lacrosse and tennis, and they would always have team spaghetti dinners at our place and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I more so drop off at ATM.
Okay.
Yeah, cook and then drop off. And then they can clean up.
Very nice. Shirk that responsibility for sure. Yeah. Would you guys have a ritual or anything that you do as a team? Leading into a game or before the game? Is there anything that gets you pumped up and get that energy really flowing?
I think it's more so we all have to come in with at least 3 different beverages. It's a coffee, an energy drink, and some water. And then we all do our hair within right before the game.
Now, I think was it one of you guys had a ritual that you have to put your hair in a certain. Ella, it was you who had to have your hair in a certain configuration before you could play.
Yes. Well, okay. So I have the motto, look good, play good. Yep. And if I play in a certain hairstyle that I was just not playing good in, then I can't wear that hairstyle for at least like 2 weeks.
So you give yourself a 2-week lockout. What hairstyles have been locked out so far?
Well, of course it's a cycle, but recently, that low braid has not been doing me justice. So right now that's out. But
got it. Anything for you, Pua? Any superstition, hair, or other ritual?
Yeah, so I think it's for both game and practice, like Schoene's one. I have to put my gear on in a certain order. And if not, then I restart the whole process.
Got it. Well, the hair is important. I remember with my own daughters when they were young, when their mom would be out of town and I would take them to daycare. They always knew that mom was out of town by how messy their hair was and how poorly they were dressed by their dad. So I think sometimes men overlook that, the importance of the hairstyle, right? Well, what else? What else stands out to you guys this season? Rebuilding year, new players, getting set up for next year, I imagine, with hopefully a lot of returns and a really strong team chemistry.
Yeah, I think within that 23, there's definitely much more competition aspect that comes into just day-to-day practices, because maybe you have to put more value to your touch because of how many different bodies are around you. And so it just creates that aspect of hey, you're not going to perform your job this one day, this other girl can come in and do it. Mm-hmm. So it's that aspect of thinking that someone's right on your tail and you just got to keep pushing. So it's all in all elevating everybody together. So
for folks that aren't as familiar with how volleyball rotates and who gets playing time, what's the philosophy of a coach, Jenic? Is it to keep a core group out there and then intermittent change, or do you try and rotate everybody in?
Obviously, there's a strategy involved in matches. But that takes a lot in relation to practice, because with a large group, you want to get them exposed to the things that we're planning to do during a match, because I don't want to set them up for failure. I'm not gonna have them work out at this particular position and not expose it to it. So as for them to understand that any given time they can get a chance to get in, so that keeps them on their toes to say, hey, in practice they're working hard, competing, because that could be that one moment when they're in, and that's what they're gonna have to try to get a good experience for it. And as I call it, extend your string, because if you get that opportunity to compete and you're doing well, that only gets you longer as far as getting in the time to compete.
Yeah. So. And Ella, you being a freshman and so many other first years, do you guys recognize, those opportunities when you get your shot and you really want to, I imagine, go in and show what you can do?
Yeah, we have to really take it with a grain of salt, because yes, it's that great opportunity, but we can't put that pressure on ourselves to perform. We just have to do it and have enough confidence in ourselves that we know how to play, we're here for a reason, and just do what's best for the team.
Yep. So what are you guys looking forward to in the coming few weeks? Is there a game that you've got circled right now?
We got Dominican this coming Saturday, and a pretty busy weekend. We got a back-to-back Saturday-Sunday match, with two schools, and I think it's a teams that we can very compete with, and I think we're confident that we can do well. And I guess this coming Saturday we have a good event, a 25th year anniversary for our 1998 NCAA championship team that's visiting our school. And I think 9 of the alumnus are in town.
So we're going to have a little ceremony, or
in the beginning of the match, we're just going to introduce them, and they want to meet the girls tomorrow at the match, and then just kind of get them to mingle.
Wow, very nice. And that's what day?
Saturday.
This coming Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay, so for our listeners out there, it'll be a big Saturday to go and remember that championship team that performed so well. Well, hey, we're going to take a quick break. But before we do, I want to acknowledge one of our sponsors. So Sharks Weekly is brought to you in part by Duke's Waikiki. Duke's is an iconic establishment in Waikiki. Duke's Waikiki celebrates an atmosphere that encompasses surfing, the spirit of Hawaii, and live music on the beach. I've been there many times. It's a wonderful place to go. So go check it out when you're on the island. You're listening to Sharks Weekly. I'm your host, Jeff Rich, and we will be right back after this break. And we are back live in studio on another fabulous Hawaii morning. Beautiful day here on a Thursday. Perfect weather in store. I think we're all looking forward to, well, at least some of us, as we were talking with athletics director Debbie Snell. Tomorrow is a holiday, but not for everybody, unfortunately. And our HPU athletic teams are still in action and things going on. So that will be fun. But we were just chatting before the break about the return event on Saturday. And Jenic, let's talk a little bit more about that. So you've got 9 athletes from the 98 team returning, one from Brazil, you said, so that's a long way to come.
Yeah, I mean, we're excited for this group to be back on campus and share those memories that they gained and all that from the school and in the competition. One of their athletes reach out and say, hey, it's been 25 years, we're trying to get this group back together, and we just kind of talked and kind of set up.
And for our listeners that weren't around in the 98 season, a little recap, so tell us about the 98 season.
Well, that 98 season, I think they just kind of got into the Division II level, and they at that time the conference was pretty competitive as well. And if I'm not mistaken, they won it back-to-back. That was their first year of winning it. So the 98 team won, and then the 99 team won as well. So good tradition to start off with our athletics, and we're just trying to get back into that same level. And I'm kind of hoping these 25-year alumnus coming back and sharing their ways of things to our girls, and just kind of light a fire and see if things happen.
Yeah, quarter of a century since the return, and I know it must be one of the most rewarding things for you, coaches, to when you see those players come back and learn about their accomplishments professionally, or maybe
right.
starting a family,
yeah.
And kind of how their life has progressed, and knowing that you had a major part in their development.
Yeah, and I think that's, most coaches, I would say, if not all coaches, the reason why they coach is building relationship with their players.
Yeah.
And for them to even wanting to come back and then just get that memories, and reconnect with all those players that they were with, maybe some of them that they didn't see each other from that time, and it's nice to see each other again.
Yep. Well, so you've got that going on Saturday, and then Sunday we're broadcasting. I think we're going to be live broadcast
right.
on Sunday's game,
Correct.
But not Saturday.
No, not Saturday.
Okay, so you got to go live in person.
Come over and watch that nice match that we have with Dominican, and share that memorable thing with the 25th year anniversary.
Very nice, very nice. Well, this is the time of the show we like to take a little bit of a look back and learn a little bit about what's happened in the week at HPU Sports. So I'm going to reintroduce our in-studio cohort here, Marcus Dawal. Marcus, you had the pleasure of trying to spread yourself around to all the teams and sports going on and kind of see what's happening and who's doing well. And so give us a little taste of what happened over the last week here at HPU.
Yeah, so last week we had our final regular season games for men's and women's soccer. It was a crazy night. So Concordia's women's team, they came on Oahu, I think ranked number 5th in the country. And this is the one time I'll ever shout out Chaminade, but Chaminade beat them. And then we took away a win from them with it was like 17 seconds left. We scored to tie the game, and so it was pretty nice, seeing Concordia leave Oahu without a win,
Yeah.
And so
send them packing.
Yeah, and sent them tanking down the ring. I think they're number 25 in the country now, so so it was sweet seeing that. And then we have men's basketball making the crazy journey to Alaska. I always think it's just so crazy that that's what's so unique about Division II. You have teams in Alaska, you have teams in Hawaii, and they're going to finish off the road trip in Canada. And so it's just really just unique, just seeing the schedule we have for sports here. And so excited to see how they compete there. And then back home, we got the GNAC Pac-West crossover for women's basketball. And so we got number 15 Montana State Billings coming. We have Alaska Anchorage coming over here, and then we have our neighbors Hilo coming. So a lot of good basketball, a lot of good teams. Coach Knack and Coach Ray are making their head coaching debuts at HPU, and so very exciting weekend for basketball. And then also for volleyball, like we mentioned, we have the 1998 team coming, and I think that's it's so awesome, having all the aunties back here, and it's when I was working at the A's this past spring, we had the 1973 World Series reunion, and I just remember my bosses, were telling me this is very important, not only just to, to honor and pay homage to, these legends in the sports, but also it's it's really important to just like give these players and these athletes and these people just like opportunities to fellowship with one another. I think, you know, as you get older, you know, like, you know, you have families, you have careers, and like it kind of just like draws you away from each other. And so I think it's really special and really important that we give these amazing ladies just like the opportunity just to be together and just enjoy each other and just celebrate like all they accomplished. And I mean, that's what, when I think about my time at APU, like, you know, like we won some conference championships and that was fun, but the things I miss most, like, you know, the day-to-day hanging out with your teammates, you know, I think that's something we take for granted as athletes, you know, like we're like, oh man, I have to go to practice, or like, you know, I'm just eating like the same people every day at the cafeteria. But I mean, once you like my year I spent like after I graduated, like the thing I'm like, you know, like you're always gonna be an athlete no matter what, and whatever you do, whether you're working, whether, you know, just like your day-to-day life, that never changes. But, you know, the stuff that does change is like, you know, man, like I do miss like, you know, like hanging out with my guys every day. I do miss like, you know, that camaraderie, because that's something you can't really replicate. And so I'm glad that we are taking this time this weekend to just, you know, create that atmosphere for them.
Yep. Well, you mentioned, you know, your time with the A's, the Oakland A's, and was it the 73 team you said was coming back?
Yeah.
So memory serves, that had Reggie Jackson, Raleigh Fingers, I think Catfish Hunter, was he an A?
Yeah.
Before he went to the Yankees, right? So
yeah.
Who else was on that team? Do you remember? That team was loaded, boy.
Yeah, they had Vida Blue, Sal Bando, I'm thinking like Bert Campaneris, a lot of
yes, just
a lot of just legends on that team. And yeah, it was, I think that was like the most like fun. It was cool seeing them all there. But I mean, Vida Blue, I think he passed away like 2 weeks after that ceremony. And so I just remember how like everyone was just like really happy that they put on that event. I mean, because there was a lot of stuff going on like that this year with like the team moving and everything. And so I'm really glad they made an effort to put that together for them, because you could tell it just meant a lot for them just to, I mean, they'll get recognized anywhere, but I think the fact that they had like the space to just be together for, because you never know, like, you know, like life's just so uncertain. So I think like having that time just to, because you never know when's your last time hanging out as a group together. And so I think it's just really important just to put on these events for these athletes like that.
So have you got a chance to meet Reggie Jackson?
Oh yeah.
What's he like?
Oh, he's a personality, but he's a really cool guy. I think all of them just like, that's why I'm excited for meeting the 1998 team, because when you meet these athletes, like they're just, you like when I say they're cut from a different cloth, like, I mean, you just meet them, you're like, wow, like that's what like looks like to be great. Like, you know, it's like people aren't just born great, they become great. And like you hear like all these stories from, you know, like those A's players, but you know, like the times they spent, you know, grinding together in Kansas City. And like, you know, I've been doing a little bit of research on 1998 team, and a lot of the local girls, I mean, they weren't just like, I mean, just because they're D2, I think people have the misconception that's like easier. Man, like, I mean, half those girls like had D1 offers, and like the biggest reasons why they stayed was because, like, you know, they wanted to honor their parents and honor where they came from. And so, I mean, they were just a stacked team, but then they also had like the humility to like, they wanted to, it meant more to them to like bring a championship to Hawaii than bring a championship to like UCLA, Fresno State. And so I think that's what's really special about that team.
Well, you mentioned, you know, one of the advantages of playing D2 versus D1 or D3, it's just there's such a nice balance of, you know, focus on academics and understanding the importance of your academic responsibilities, and then the right balance of focus on the athletics programs, where I think D1 programs can be all-consuming. So, you know, was that a choice? Did you guys think about, you know, D1 versus D2 when you were considering, you know, your college career?
Yeah, most definitely. I think as a local girl growing up, you just are looked at as within a bubble. And so you're trying to put Hawaii on the map. You're not putting like just yourself, like me, Pua Beazley. I'm putting Kaneohe on the map. I'm representing my kanaka, you know? Like I'm representing my family, my last name. So that's what I'm trying to do. So it's a bigger purpose. So when I committed to the D1 program, it was definitely like, hey, athletic, like, yeah, you're a student athlete, but you're really an athlete student.
Yeah.
Like, you got to find time. Like if you got 30 minutes, like in between lift and practice, okay, you're going to do that for homework, because you get home late after eating dinner with the team in the caf, and then it's like, already wake back up at like 5. to go lift
You still
again.
have a huge commitment to it.
Right.
Yeah.
So when coming back and being able to, like he said, honor my family and, show them like, hey, I'm like thriving now, like not that I wasn't thriving up in the Division I program, but it was like definitely a change of pace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What, and Ella, your thoughts? So did you think about D1 and D2 and some of the trade-offs of, just the level of commitment and all-consuming sort of nature of the D1 programs?
That definitely did go into my decision. I think D2 is definitely just like more of a balance in my life because I didn't really want to have that all-consuming pressure of like my whole life is riding on my performance as being an athlete. And so coming here, it's like I'm able to balance my athletic life, my academic life, and even like a social life, which I probably wouldn't be able to have at the D1 level. So it's just been really nice to grow and thrive here.
Nice. Well, you mentioned social life, so I want to ask each of you, Pua and El, excuse me. Let me ask the question. I think you guys would give me a little bit of feedback on this, and we'll start with you, Pua. What is your favorite activity on the island? So you grew up here. You're from Kaneohe Bay, which is, by the way, one of the most amazingly beautiful places I have ever seen. I joined an outrigger club up there that we go out right on the Marine base, and Kaneohe Bay is just the most beautiful place I've ever seen.
Absolutely.
So I'm sure you appreciate that. But what having lived here, what are the things that you love to do, and are they still as exciting today as they maybe were when you were younger?
Yeah. So I think it's actually funny because when the girls first come, they go to all like the high attraction spots, and I never hear of these spots. I'm like, wow, like this is pretty cool, but never heard of them. Just because I've been more so like, all right, let's go Sherwoods, like let's just go Analo, like nothing big. Just I'm a 9.6744 girl and through. So I think staying home and being able to I've been able to see my sister grow. She's 12, and she just being able to hang out with her, and then I take care of my dogs.
What kind of dogs?
Shorty bulls.
Okay.
Yeah. So we breed them, so we love it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, hey, we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back and ask Ella the same question. So your favorite place, thing to do. But before we do that, we want to acknowledge another one of our wonderful sponsors. Sharks Weekly is brought to you in part by Outrigger Resorts and Hotels. Hawaii-based Outrigger Resorts and Hotels is proud to support the collegiate athletics of Hawaii Pacific University. So please check them out if you're on island. I'm Jeff Rich. I'm your host for Sharks Weekly, and we will be right back after this break.
Well, coming from Washington, the beaches there are a little colder, a little rainier.
You can go in the water here, right?
Yeah, I mean, without like freezing, but so I definitely like to explore like all the beaches when I have the time, of course.
All right, give us your top 3 in rank order beaches, Hawaii beaches.
Well, I don't get out that much.
So you haven't been to 3 different ones yet?
I have, but not. I went to Sunset Beach on the North Shore, and that was really pretty. Yeah, we go to Lani Kai a lot.
That is beautiful, isn't it, boy?
Yeah, when it's not too busy, but it's
and of course, you got Ala Moana right here. You guys must spend a little time there since it's so close to campus.
We do. It's just a quick bus ride away. We really like Sandy's. The waves can be a little intimidating, but it makes it more fun, so it's okay.
So you guys, so Pooh, you've lived here, and it's probably, not that big a deal to you, but I know when I moved to Hawaii, I had a fear of sharks, and I had to think seriously because I'm a paddleboarder and I spent a ton of time on the water, and that put a little fear in me when I was moving out here. But I have to say, and since I've been here over a year now, not even in the mindset. It's like you just forget about that and you go out. And I say that having lived the last 2 or 3 weeks now where we've had shark sightings on Ala Moana, which is right up here. But I think they had that video of a turtle getting eaten by a shark right off Ala Moana Beach about a week ago. Does that enter your mind at all?
I just have to tell myself a shark wouldn't attack another shark. So,
You're the more aggressive shark.
Yeah.
There you go. We're the more aggressive sharks. I like that. There's a whole play on words we can do off of this as sharks. But so putting that aside, though, are you still in that phase where it's a little bit, in your mindset, or not even there anymore?
It definitely still is, but
Okay.
I just have to get over it. Like, I'm at the beach. I'm going to try to enjoy the beach as much as I can.
Yeah. Well, that was the first time. I mean, there have been some shark sightings out here, but last week when I hit Ala Moana and they had the shark signs up, it was the first time I'd actually seen people in the water. Only went out so far. It was kind of a line. Yeah, which was interesting. But, you live, life has risks, right, guys? And if you want to enjoy it, I think you have to be willing to accept a little bit of risk here and there. So, well, hey, we'll come back in a minute. But before we run out of time, I want to turn the mic back over to our sports information director, Marcus Dawal. Marcus, what do we have to look forward to this week in HPU sports?
We have so much to look forward to this weekend. Oh my gosh. So, yeah, tomorrow, we have the basketball doubleheader. We have the Jenic Pac West crossover, and then on top of that we have the Fall World Series for baseball, and so that'll be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then on Saturday we have a triple header, not a double header, a triple header. So 2 basketball games in the morning, and then we'll have the 1998 ceremony at night. And then Sunday, we have another night, Sunday night volleyball back at the Shark Tank. And so much this weekend. I mean, if you miss a game, I don't know what to tell you, because there's so many options for you. And then on top of that, we have National Signing Day. And so that's a fun time for all the programs here, but also for, the new Sharks. I don't know about you guys, but I accidentally skipped my signing day, and so, but yeah.
And Paul, what do we have scheduled in terms of broadcast the next coming week here?
Well, it's funny Marcus brings up all of these wonderful things coming up over the weekend, because you'll actually see us at HSRN out at a few different events. We're first at tomorrow's women's basketball game against the number 15 team in all of Division II, which will be super fun one. I believe tip-off is, 3 o'clock, right, Marcus?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Boom, you guys.
3 o'clock tip-off.
3 o'clock tip-off, about 2:50 I should be on with pregame. And I'll have a new partner, because my Kyle Galdera, my usual guy, he won't be able to join me. And then this Sunday, you guys actually mentioned it already, the match against Art U for women's volleyball. We'll have that on the airwaves as well. So if you can't make your way out to the Shark Tank, make sure you tune in and still support these wonderful student athletes.
Absolutely. And of course, you can always find schedules for our teams at our website. If you come to hpu.edu, you'll see a link to the athletics website. Schedules are there. And also, I noticed that you guys are starting to post your events on Facebook events, which is awesome. Yeah. Great way to spread the word and to get more people coming out. Well, listen, we have had a wonderful show today, and I want to thank our special guest, head coach of the women's volleyball team, Jenic Tumaneng. I am just so butchering with names, guys. I'm sorry. You got to cut me some slack here. Some slack. And freshman Ella Schoene and senior Pua Beazley, our returning guest. You guys were phenomenal today. It was a fun and interesting conversation. I want to thank Marcus, our sports information director, and our in-studio producer, Mr. Paul Brecht. Guys, thank you. I wish you the best of luck in the coming weekend and through the remainder of the season. Ella, we're going to have you back on, I'm sure, in future years, and we'll learn about how you've progressed. So just thanks to our listeners. Everybody have a wonderful week. I'm your host, Jeff Rich of Sharks Weekly, and we will catch you next Thursday morning at 9 o'clock.